Good morning. Happy Sunday. Today is Sunday, January 24th. And today we are going to be talking about the energy of money. It's something that we all think about, right? Money. And we're going to be talking about that today. It's important to everyone on some level. To me, not so much. I don't really care about money. As long as me and my kids are taken care of, that's about it for me. But to some people, it means a lot. And we're going to be talking about that today. Okay. How much focus do you put into money? Is it fair to say we think about it every day? Probably. It's a very powerful energy, and it has always been one of the leading causes of divorce, is money. And it's always been up there, one of the leading causes. And that's a very powerful thing. As children, a lot of adults say, when I was a kid, I didn't realize we were poor. We had food to eat and our house, and, I didn't know that we were poor. But then children start to quickly learn when somebody, say it's a birthday or it's Christmas, or a relative comes over and slips the child a $20 bill, then it becomes a big deal. Wow, I just got $20. Whoa, I want to spend it right now. And the love of money starts to grow then. As we go into adulthood, one of the biggest fears that we have as adults is about money. Okay? There's a big fear about money. And money, because it's an energy. Good morning, Prima. Because money is such an energy, it can easily trigger fear in us. Okay? Now, there's two sides of the coin. There's people will say, I'm poor, I'm just barely making ends meet, I'm stealing from Peter to pay Paul, I have to figure out which bills I'm going to pay, and then I've seen people with a lot of money, and the problem on that side is the more money you have, the less people you trust. And so being wealthy can be a lonely thing when it comes to intimacy because they trust less. Now I'm talking in broad terms, but for the majority, they trust less because they have money. So how rich of a life is that? That's good morning, Luce. Now I'm going to share with you a parable that's in Matthew 25. It's the parable of the bags of gold. And in this story, this is kind of like a metaphor. I don't know if it's an allegory or not, but it's a metaphor for how to use your money. And this is biblical advice on how to use your money. So there was this master, and he chose 3 of his servants. And he says, I'm going to be going on a trip. I'm going to be gone for a while. So I'm going to give you all a portion of money, and I want you to make that money grow for me. So he gave one person five bags of gold. He gave one person 3 bags of gold, and he gave one person 1 bag of gold. So the master was gone for months, finally came back, and he rounded up those 3 people, and he said, how did you do? And The one with the 5 bags said, Master, I took your money and I went out and invested it and gave back. I was using it. Now, instead of 5, I have 10 bags of gold. Here, I have 10 bags of gold for you. And the master said, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Then there was the man with the 3 bags of gold. And the master said, what did you do with your 3 bags of gold? And he said, Master, I took the money out and I used it and I invested it wisely. And I have to present to you 6 bags of gold, not 3. And the master was again elated and he said, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Then he went to the man with 1 bag of gold and he said, what did you do with your 1 bag of gold? And he said, I'm trying to find out where it says here. He basically, what he did was he was scared to use it. He was scared to lose it. And instead of trusting freely, he buried it in the ground. And what the master said to him about was, you wicked, lazy servant. You should have at least put the money in the bank on deposit with the bankers so that when I returned, I would have at least earned some interest. So the one who did nothing but hoarded his money and hung on to it and hid it was chastised. Okay? Was chastised. I don't know how many of you believe in karma. What comes around goes around, that kind of thing. I do. I talked about this a few months ago, the cycle of abundance. Okay? When you give, you receive, it comes back to you. When you put your money out there, it comes back, Okay. Now, the key to this story is get in the flow of abundance. Okay, to get in the flow of abundance, trusting that the universe has your back again. Okay? Don't hoard on to what you have. Freely share and it will be given back to you. Now, I'm not just saying, with wisdom, with a sense of measure, everything in moderation. But when you freely share, it will come back to you. But you got to get in that flow for it to happen. Okay? What I've been doing is whenever I go places, if it's the grocery store or restaurant or whatever, I tip very, very heavy. Especially when I see people are struggling, working 2 jobs. And people now look for me, when I'm in the grocery store, they come up to me, would you like to help out with your bags? Because they know I'm going to tip them well. And it's my way of giving out. And I'm seeing my income increase. Okay? Karma. You got to get in the flow of it. Now, when you see a self-made millionaire, billionaire, we just had one pass away this week in Las Vegas, Sheldon Adelson. He started off with nothing. Okay. When he was 12 years old, he sold newspapers and he did some other little chores type of job, but he was a hustler. He went out and worked. He was a self-made billionaire. He owns the Venetian. There's so many, the Venetian in Macau. There's so many investments that he has all over the world. Ridiculous, insane amount of money. But you know what? When you are out there, money, it just doesn't happen in a straight line. You have to know that money is an energy, and energy takes twists and turns, okay? So you don't just go from zero to millionaire. You'll have ups and downs along the way, that are going on, but you have to be in the flow. Be in the flow. Okay? We are at a point where COVID will start to slow down. Viruses usually run a course of 2 years' time. And many people have lost their jobs. I want to remind you that the world always has room for the next great idea. Okay, next great idea. If you need to reinvent yourself, I would like for you to spend some time in meditation and prayer with the Creator and asking Him, show me the way. What should I do? And it doesn't have to be a big, magnificent thing. The person who made paper clips ended up with a lot of money. The stapler, little things. It doesn't have to be a big thing. But when you get your energy out of there, instead of staying home or staying at a desk where you're not making the money that you need to be making, thinking, how can I invest? Like the 2 men who had the 5 bags of gold and the 3 bags of gold. They went out there and they doubled their money. Okay? They doubled their money. The other thing I'd like to point out to you today is that we need to change our response from fear or limitation, fear of lack of money, or limitation, I can't do anything because I don't have any money mentality, to generosity and investment. Okay? Investment into people, places, and things. Okay? It's not just stocks and bonds and what, that's part of it, but investing into people, it will come back to you. Invest into places, donations, your church, okay, into things, and it will definitely come back to you. This week, I voluntarily told my landlord I was going to increase my rent. Yeah, who does that, right? And I'm not tooting my horn, but this is my way of getting into this. Getting into this, okay? When you put out, it comes back to you. It is all about generosity of spirit and remembering God is always in control. God is in control of your money. But if you're clutched onto it so tight and not willing to take any chances, what are you going to get? Whatever's in here, that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. Okay? Spend some time in meditation asking for money-making ideas. Okay? The important thing is don't stand still with your money. Okay? Don't stand still with it. Get into this flow in whatever way makes sense to you. Start off easy, stay within your comfort zone, but start making those strides, okay? Because we are meant to have a life of abundance. The universe has untold abundance. So to sit around and say, I'm poor, I'm just making ends meet, oh, gee, I'd love to go do that, but I don't have any money to do. Okay, that lasts for a while. But we're responsible on our own to go out there and get it. Get in the flow with faith that God has your back and will show you the way. He will show you the way. Okay? We are meant to have this life of abundance. Go get it. Go get it. Now, this is talking about money. It also applies to love. It applies to many things. When you give, you will receive. Period. Period. Okay? So please give this some thought today, especially now since we're in a pivotal point of time. Your life is yours to completely sculpt any way you would like it to be. You've got all the resources of the universe, of our divine creator who wants you to have the best. So why not get the best? Okay? I'm sending you so much love today, and I will see you next week. Take care. If I can, I guess I'm not supposed to say goodbye yet. Goodbye.